It's Tuesday, the 1st of August, 2023. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's get going. Story number 1, Parliament resumed yesterday following the midwinter break, and we can expect to hear plenty, of course, about the voice referendum, also about the federal government's housing bill.
That's right. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese kicked things off by accusing the opposition of making a political point at the expense of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people by campaigning against an Indigenous voice to Parliament. The Greens came out and said the Prime Minister has not responded to a request for a meeting about the $10 billion housing fund bill. If it fails to pass the Senate this sitting, it could be used as a double dissolution trigger by the government. And of course, yesterday there were tributes to former Labor leader Simon Crean from both sides of the aisle.
And former Prime Minister Scott Morrison also took a fair crack at the government and the Robo-Debt Royal Commission.
Morrison said the findings against him were disproportionate, wrong, unsubstantiated and absurd, and accused Labor of abusing the commission process to carry out a political lynching. Morrison also accused Labor of rank hypocrisy, given it, when in opposition, went to both the 2016 and 2019 federal elections counting the forecast budget savings from robo-debt and its own costings promises. Morrison likened the Royal Commission to the inquiry into his secret ministries, saying Labor was determined to tear him down to detract from his legacy of steering the nation through the coronavirus pandemic.
Okay, on to story number 2 now, Sean. And it is a big day, of course, for economists, but really for anybody with a mortgage. Big guessing game over what the Reserve Bank board will do today.
Yeah, so it meets this morning at 11:30 a.m. There's very, very little consensus here. 2 of the big banks, for example, think there will be a rate hike. 2 of them think it'll be on pause. We'll find out at 2:30 p.m. when the announcement comes out, whether or not rates have gone up or whether they're on pause. Just as important is what the Reserve Bank says about the future. Will it have a bias towards lifting rates or will it be data dependent? That's what we're all waiting for. 2:30 this afternoon, Michael.
Story number 3, Sean. The Albanese government faces its first industrial dispute by federal workers as public sector unions protest against a 10.5% offer over 3 years and the rejection of a 4-day workweek trial.
The Community and Public Sector Union will start 2 weeks of auxiliary code bans at Services Australia today, in which members will refuse to complete codes that allow the management to track tasks of individual employees at any given time, according to the Financial Review. The action comes after 93% of union members voted in a protected action ballot to support the auxiliary ban codes. The CPSU also won strong support for unlimited work stoppages for periods of between 1 hour and 24 hours. The union is seeking a 20% increase made up of a 9% first-year increase, then 6%, then 5%. Finance Minister Katie Gallagher, a former CPSU organiser, said the 20% claim is just not affordable.
Story number 4, Sean, I know this is one of your favourite topics. The Barbenheimer phenomenon continues with the 2 movies, Barbie and Oppenheimer. They've already taken more than $1 billion in worldwide ticket sales. That is pretty incredible.
Absolutely. Now, that first weekend for Barbie in the US took $162 million. In the first 11 days, it's up to $354 million. That pace outdoes The Dark Knight to be Warner Brothers' biggest ever release. Little doubt it will soon be the biggest box office hit of the summer. In fact, every day it's played, Barbie's making about $20 million. Now, it made about $122 million internationally over the weekend. Globally, it's now at $775 million. Over at Universal Pictures, Oppenheimer is performing more like a superhero movie than a 3-hour film about scientists. It has made $174 million in the US thus far. There's another $72 million in international cinemas over the weekend. All up, Oppenheimer has surpassed $400 million globally, according to Bloomberg.
All right, last one, story number 5. There has been plenty in the news about the extreme heat throughout North America and Europe. Fortunately, Sean, Tokyo's annual Extreme Heat Countermeasures exhibition was on last week with some, let's say, innovative ways of keeping people cool.
Good way to describe it. Now, of course, Japan has one of the world's oldest populations. It takes this very seriously. Its citizenry is particularly at risk from extreme temperatures. In 2020, 86% of heatwave deaths were among people above the age of 65. Remember last week, US President Joe Biden, he came out and said the nation's spending $100 billion a year to protect Americans from extreme heat. With that in mind, let me tell you about some of the more popular items last week. Clothing, which has a fan built in, accelerating airflow to dry perspiration. I like that one. 2-metre tall ceiling fans, safety helmets with a built-in fan, wearables that tell you when you're at risk of heat stroke, and my favourite, Michael, a mesh vest for dogs that carries cold packs.
Some of these are just worth Googling just to see them, aren't they, Sean?
They certainly are.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Tuesday, the 1st of August, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 business news by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.